Are you an independent author with an incredible story to share? Are you afraid your book will get lost in a sea of books? True Vine Publishing Company can help you stand out. We're not just a publishing service, we're your partner in success. We provide personalized marketing strategies and eye-catching covers that will captivate your audience. We will build your author platform and connect with your readers. We have helped countless authors achieve success, and we can help you too. Break free from the shadows, take control of your publishing journey, and make your mark. Visit TrueVinePublishing.com or call 615-44-BOOKS to schedule a consultation.
Hello, this is Timothy Bond with True Vine Publishing Company, and you're watching the next episode of The Right Change, where our guest today is Dewan Clayborn, author of The Next Generation of Nonprofit Leadership. Dewan, how you doing today, man?
Hey, Timothy, living the dream, man. So good to see you. Thanks for having me on your podcast. I'm seeing all the great content. So happy to be here.
Hey, man, I'm excited to have you on. First of all, let me thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this book, of this vision, The Next Generation of Nonprofit Leadership. And it's a book I'm getting sales on a regular basis, books I have to ship out on a regular basis. So I'm excited, man, to let people know, the mission you're on, the message that you have. So first off, let me just open the floor up to you and tell people a little bit about who Dewan Clayborn is, where you came from, all the good tea on Dewan.
I will do, man. And you're thanking me, but I need to be thanking you because you made my first time writing the book so smooth and everything. I mean, to the point where, I slowed you down. You had to call and give me motivation to talk. So I should be thanking you, But yeah, man, Dewan Clayborn from Little Rock, Arkansas. I played Division I sports, basketball. And so always been very competitive and always wanted to win, and always been a self-starter, hard worker. And so as I shifted into the corporate world, I realized that, there are a lot of transformational skills that I learned playing sports. And so I really started tapping into leadership, motivating others, and spent the first few years in my work career in retail space. I was a manager of a couple of the two largest Fortune 500 companies. And then I found my calling in the chamber industry, in the nonprofit industry, excuse me. And so since being in the nonprofit industry, growing up, I didn't even know what a nonprofit was. And so they are the true people that are the backbone of this entire country that are doing the grunt grassroots efforts to make our communities better. And so I've been loving this industry. I've been loving bringing innovative, creative ideas, and I've been loving being a disruptor in the nonprofit industry as a whole.
Yeah, let's talk about that, man, because that's kind of like a topic that you didn't think you would hear. A disruptor in nonprofit, nonprofit industry, nonprofit leadership. So what is it that makes nonprofit leadership different from, private or profit-based? Like, what is that distinction?
Correct. Technical wise, nonprofit is typically your traditional 501c3s. It's a tax status, right? So there's business benefits for giving. So, whenever it's the end of the year and these multimillionaires, they're looking for different tax write-offs, tax deductibles. That's when your nonprofits come into place. But from a leadership perspective, it's really the same for profits, and nonprofits. Because the only thing with nonprofits we have a board of directors, but for profits, those are your stakeholders, right? Those are, there's people that are invested, whether, the stock market people, your shareholders, so it's really kind of the same type of thing. However, nonprofits typically are they're able to, provide the services based on grants and donations and things, where for profits, they're not so donation driven, and so they have a little more sustainability sometimes during nonprofit. But nonprofits also can get those big donors that see the vision, they see what you're trying to do, they see the impact and want to help you with that impact. And so some nonprofits have multi-million dollar budgets, larger budgets than for profits. And so, from a leadership standpoint, at the end of the day, if you're a leader, then you're a leader. You can be a leader in a for-profit space or a nonprofit space. And so my book is more so about, again, being a disruptor. And the way you be a disruptor is by keeping up with the trends, challenging the status quo. I have a talk that I talk about is normalcy bias. And so a lot of leaders, they have normalcy bias. This is how we've always done things. This is how we've always interacted with our customers. But COVID taught us that we have to change, or we're going to be the next Blockbuster, the next Sears, right? So, and I don't want to go down the rabbit trail or anything, but being a disruptor is making sure that you are not stuck in those normalcy biases.
Also what I'm hearing though, or what came to me as you were talking, I would assume there is a bit of a difference in being a nonprofit leader and a corporate, like, profit-based leader, because you got to know how to get people to part with that money, right? Like you were talking about those donations, right?
Yeah.
And also, I think you have a lot more rules and regulations to follow. Talk to us about that. Talk to us about that.
That's a great point. Actually, one chapter in the book is called Amending Bylaws. And so our bylaws for any nonprofit organization, first off, any nonprofit has to have bylaws, but that is basically the Bible for the organization. And so you are not supposed to do anything that breaches the bylaws. And so as an executive, or someone or director in a leadership role, that's the first thing you want to tackle is, one, understanding your bylaws, and then two, amending them to keep up with time so that you can be agile and flexible and fluid and adapt to all the changes that happen in the business industry. And so again, I got a chapter on that. But yeah, so the corporate for-profits don't have bylaws, but nonprofits do.
Talk to us about the challenges of being a nonprofit leader, because I mean, to write a book about it, you had to have some experiences, and we don't have to mention any names, okay? We don't have to mention any names of any locations either. But
right.
Tell your story of going into what was a war zone almost, and turning it into a paradise.
Hey, I will do it. And hey, let me back up a little bit. So the book writing process was great. I was trying to be too raw with it, but I had to get back some. But no, honestly though, Tim, it's because I again didn't even know about this nonprofit space, and so even getting my first role at a lower level role for a nonprofit, it was shocking. Like, I didn't even know about office politics. I didn't even know about board of directors, like local, state, federal, laws, governments, and how they affect, nonprofits and their funding and things like that. And so there was such a huge learning curve for me. And I'm the type of person where, if I don't know something, I just assume somebody else doesn't. And so any way that I can pay it forward and help educate or bring light around that, that's what I wanted to do. And so, starting from almost 10 years ago, that was my door that opened into the nonprofit industry, where it's a huge learning curve. And, I've been in other roles for profits where you come in, hey, here's your onboarding documents. Here's your manual. Hey, if you don't know something, reach out to this leader. They'll help. There was always support, but nonprofits, people are wearing multiple hats. Sometimes people don't have time to slow down and show you what to do. So I had to just deal with a lot of figuring out. But for me, the way my mind thinks and how strategic I am, I'm like, look, just show me how to do it, because I'm going to spend an hour trying to figure it out myself, or you can take 10 minutes, explain it, and I can get back to my job. But that's not how it was. People were wearing multiple hats. There's this whole kind of thing, like, hey, you go try first and then I'll come help you. I was just new to all of that stuff. And so definitely bumped a lot of heads. Had to learn about having tough conversations. A lot of different things that, again, was just such a new space for me. That I was like, man, I don't want anybody else to have to walk into something like this. How can I put this down so that it can continue to, help and encourage the next generation, so that people aren't walking into a culture shock just like I did. And probably the number one biggest thing is that, everything is very conservative. With the for-profit companies I was working with, Fortune 500 companies, yeah, we need some marketing. Let's spend, 150,000 on that. Hey, we need this. Let's go get that. But in a nonprofit industry, no, there's so many checks and balances, and you as a for-profit, you want to be good stewards with your funds, but nonprofit is definitely watch. And half the reason I think is because all of the nonprofits financials, that's all public information. You can find an organization's 990 online. And so as we talk about, getting grants and funding, if a foundation is considering your nonprofit to grant and give money to, and they see you don't balance your books well, you're constantly like in the red, you're not in the black every year, those are going to affect you getting those funds versus another nonprofit.
Now you have traveled the country,
Yeah.
teaching these principles that you have learned or developed. What are some of the biggest problems you see? I know you've mentioned a few, organization, money. What's some of the biggest problems you see that could be holding back nonprofit organizations, that you think, like, these top three things could change the trajectory?
Okay, great question. If I would say, if there are three things, I would say the first thing is your board of directors. So your board essentially is their role is governance, fiduciary responsibility, oversight, strategic planning. And so if you have board members that are all, I hate to use this term, but like mom and pops, like you don't have any diversity. And when I'm not just talking about diversity in ethnicity or gender, I'm talking about small, medium, large businesses, time, talent, treasure, diversity and skill set. If you don't have that, then you're limiting your organization. And typical, I actually just finished a certification through Texas A&M, and it was social justice. And 70% of board of directors across the country for nonprofits are white men. And so, as you can imagine, if you have everybody on the board that looks the same, talks the same, thinks the same, then you have these unconscious biases, and you are limiting the organization because there's nobody who's thinking outside the box. So that's number one, diversify your board of directors. Number two, you want to create a winning culture. And so when we talk about culture, you as a leader of an organization, this again is for profit and nonprofits, you dictate the culture. So you need to have those core values. And it starts from even as you hire staff members, do they fit those core values? As you are recruiting board members, are they in line with your core value? Everything you do, just like a mission and a vision for a nonprofit, those core values should incorporate every individual that's a part of that. And really quick, I'll give another nugget. When I work with nonprofits across the country, I have a tool, an assessment called the People Analyzer. And so what that is you take your ideal board member out of 30 board members, which one is the best? What are those characteristics? And then you start grading board members by them. Like, okay, if they're smart, they're intelligent, they're strategic, they got all these checks there. Okay, what about this board member? They might only have 2 out of the 6 boxes checked. Well, then you can start understanding, you need to have some conversations with board members so that you can kind of get them to roll on off, hey, thank you for your service. Or two, you want to look at moving those other board members up into leadership roles for the organization, because they're going to help you be more successful and help the organization move forward. So that's the people analyzer. Okay. And then the third one that I would say is recruit and retain top talent. One thing as a nonprofit, of course, we're always like trying to recruit the best, but paying the least amount, like salary wise. And so when you are recruiting someone, again, keep into consideration core values, but also figure out as you're hiring them, what about them aligns with your mission? What to them makes them want to work for the organization? Is it just because it's a job, or are they passionate about your mission? And so when you start hiring for people that are passionate about the mission, then there are other things that they will take. There are other ways that they'll find value other than just monetary value. And so from that, you can look at ways, to recognize employees. You got to figure out what makes them tick. And then there's other ways to appreciate them and help with their quality of life. I'll give an example. What I did when I get to my organization, I realized that we only had 13 paid holidays off. However, there's probably, 5 or 6 more that weren't just added. For example, Juneteenth. Okay, well, this is a national holiday now. So guess what? You're off of that. Okay, boom. During Christmas time, people aren't really at work. You know what? I'm going to throw in 3 days there. So, looking at ways where you can help create a good work-life balance for your team, where they can spend more time with their family, and they're rejuvenated, pumped up when they get back to work because your organization aligns with their core values as a human. Those are ways to recruit and retain top talent.
Man, look, when you can ask somebody to give 3 points and they just start throwing them out like that, that lets you know this is somebody who's truly passionate about this. Where did this passion come from? Like, everybody gets a career, and an opportunity to do something, but this seems like you really have like embodied everything concerning nonprofit leadership. Where does this passion come from?
Man, I think it's just, like I've never been like a guy like that's just kind of in the middle. I'm either all in or all out,
Okay.
and then when I'm all in, when I'm doing something, I want to be the best, so I want to be the best at my craft. And so I really take it back to my prior church I was at before I relocated to the East Coast. We do a spiritual inventory. So to talk about your spiritual gifts. And so I was very involved in the church. I was an usher, part of men's ministry, all these things. And people used to be like, why are you still smiling? How are you having a great time? But when I did my spiritual gift inventory, I found out one of my spiritual gifts is serving others. And so as I'm ushering, serving, and welcoming people in, that rejuvenates me. That gets me excited. I enjoy doing that. That's quote unquote kind of my mental health, recharge. And so from there, from a nonprofit perspective, I'm still operating my spiritual gift because now I'm just serving the business community at large, helping solve problems, helping being a connector, making the world a better space. And so now I'm not really at work, I'm at work, but I'm not, because I'm enjoying what I do. So it aligns with one of my spiritual gifts, which is another reason why I've been so successful in it, and another reason why I want to continue to shine light and help people know about the nonprofit industry.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. Well, let's talk about this book and the impact that it has had. Have you had any feedback? I know I've been shipping a lot of books out.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
So
I love getting those emails from you when I was like, oh, another book.
Right. I know. I bet I was like, man, his email is gonna be flooded.
Yeah. And on that note, let me just tell you all, like, the great thing about working with Tim in this company is that, like, I didn't even ask to be CC, but I enjoy that, because I'm out here selling, and then just getting that CC email, I'm like, oh, okay, so that person did buy a book. So thank you for that. I know that's probably part of your routine, but I value that piece.
Yeah. Hey, transparency. I love partnership. I love partnership. I think that's my spiritual gift too. You know, like the service, serving others,
Mhm.
you know, partnering with others, helping people achieve their dreams. That's something that really gets me going, man. So yeah, as far as like what's been the feedback? What are people saying about the
Yeah, great question, man. The feedback has been tremendous. It's been so great that I actually got a book signing tour that I'm currently on. So just well, of course, I moved from Houston, but I just did Houston's last week. Next couple of weeks, going to be in Dallas. Then I'm going back to my hometown, Little Rock, Arkansas.
Okay.
And then I'm going to Oklahoma in August, and then I think like October I'll be in Branson, Missouri. So yeah, no man, it's been great. I've had people like constantly call me and be like, dude, like I don't even know about the nonprofit industry. I'm like, great. That's why I talked about it, you
Yeah.
know. And so received several video testimonials. And you know, while I'm on here, if you all are looking to connect with me, I got a YouTube channel of people that are constantly, you know, writing videos and reviews about my book. And so it's been all positive, man. It's been great. And again, working and partnering with you, Tim, when people order it, they talk about the quick turnaround time of them receiving the book at the door. So I've been loving it. It's been great. It's been a huge blessing. And can't wait to look at the next project and see what's next.
Yeah, man, it's awesome that you're doing those tours. You know, I always tell people, if you can write a book that is in alignment with what you do and who you are, that's gonna be like the key to success. You don't because everything you do is, you know, the book is an extension of who you are. So wherever you go, whatever you're talking about, your book
Yeah.
is part of it. And that's what I see with you is just like the passion that you have, like everywhere you go, I can imagine just talking to somebody on the street, your book
Yeah.
will come up.
Yeah, no, yeah, and you know, it's so funny because you know, in my regular, you know, 8 to 5 or whatever, I deal with just a lot of for profits and nonprofits, and so even from a for profit standpoint, if they're having a hard time retaining talent. I tell them, hey, I got a special chapter in my book, just how to recruit and retain top talent. You know, if they're having a hard time, they're having high turnover because of the culture, I got a chapter in my book how to create a winning culture. So there's just the book is has such a broad range of you know tactical steps and strategies in order to scale your organization. That yeah, in any type of conversations, I'm listening for problems and pain points from organizations. I can definitely point them back to a chapter in the book.
I'm gonna throw this out. This will be my last statement. You know, we live in a world where everybody wants to make money. You know, everybody wants to be well off and successful, right? But when
Right.
you think of the word nonprofit, right, it sounds like no profit, right? So explain to people, you know, how not that you I guess when you think about the notion of making money off of a nonprofit, it sounds like a scam or it sounds like somebody who's trying to scam, but that's not the case, right?
No, it's not the case. And if anybody talks to me, the first thing I'm going to say is we're a nonprofit, but we are for profit. Like we're about making, you
Right.
know. And so that's really one of the challenges. Honestly, one of the main challenges that I hear as I work with nonprofits all across the country is that they are not operating as a business. You are still a business as a nonprofit organization. And so a lot of them, you know, are in debt, a lot of them, and you know, that's kind of how I got put on the map because I became this change management expert in a nonprofit industry because they have bad practices. They don't have policies, procedures. You know, they're just steady in the day to day, but not coming up to that 30,000 foot view where they can intentionally, strategically make plans on where they want to be the next 5 to 10 years. And so, yeah, it's really sad because a lot of nonprofits go in it to just, oh, we're just going to just provide these services. Yeah, but you still got bills to pay. You got
Right.
staff to pay. You know, you don't need to keep drawing on this credit line that you're not paying back. And so, because of that stigma of, hey, we're a nonprofit supposed to do this, a lot of them have a hard time of realizing that you are for profit. You need to make profit to pay your bills.
Right.
And so, for example, like United Way, when I talk about organizations that got these $1 million budgets, they're making profit. They're profiting over $1 million+ a year, and so at the end of the day, it's just a tax status, and there's a lot of benefits, from a tax deductible standpoint. And so you'll see a lot of for-profit organizations having a sister nonprofit organization that allows them to funnel funds and allows them to be able to, again, pay less taxes because they're utilizing that tax exempt status. So there's a lot of ways to play monopoly with a for-profit and nonprofit. And, so now I'm here in this industry. I'm a disruptor. I'm here to educate, motivate, and help others see the benefit of that so we can start playing that game too.
Do you work with a certain demographic of nonprofits or?
Sure. Yeah. Let me talk to that. Great question. Because honestly, people see me, they're like, okay, like I always wanted to start a nonprofit. I don't really know. And, I try not to like kill anybody's energy. They're like, so I'm like, look, you need to work with me once you've gotten all your paperwork finished. Like, I'm not the guy that's going to sit down with you, go through all this, but I'll tell them, hey, an easy, quick strategy is to do this. Find a nonprofit that does what you want to do, then look at their their articles of incorporations, pay, $500, $600 to Legal Shield, whoever, let them do the paperwork for you. Then when you get approved and your federal 501c3 or whatever tax exempt status, then you come to me. But like a lot of them kind of come, I've always wanted. I'm like, yeah, I think that's good. I'm not the guy that's gonna walk you through all that. I'm for once you finally get everything done and you ready to like hit the ground running, that's when you contact me. But as I'm saying that now, as I've talked to so many people, I probably need to figure out an alley or a way or a partner who's in that kind of setup stage of the nonprofit piece. Because I've actually been getting that question a lot. But I always say, like, I'm your guy once you're finished. I give them high level ways to get it done quicker by paying and, strategies. But I'm your guy once you have your tax exempt status and you're ready to go and move forward.
I see the vision expanding now, right before I on this interview.
Right. I know, right? As I'm talking through it.
The vision is expanding. Look, next step is to find that person to get them from A to G, and then you take them from G to Z.
Exactly.
Man, this has been great, man. I'm really excited for you. I know we had a conversation. I was like, man, you should be speaking, and and it's good to see that you're doing that, man. And I know that bigger things are coming for you. For those who want to get in contact with you, learn more about you, give them those contact spots, man. How they can learn more about you and get in contact with you.
Sure. I'm easy to find really on LinkedIn, DewanClayborn.com. And then also, if you want to just go to my website, www.dewan, Clayborn, CLAYBORN.com. You can go there. You can see testimonials from people that read the book. You can see testimonials from past clients. Then you could just book a discovery call with me. And of course, on there you can order your book as well too. But www.DewanClayborn.com is probably the best way to get in contact with me.
And you made mention of a YouTube channel. What's that?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel is just at next generational leader. And so that's just the channel where I'm constantly posting content, tidbits about leadership. And just, I just love like giving that free game, free education, free quick little TED Talks type things, just to, keep encouraging people to move forward. Like it's not about focusing on your mistakes, but if you fail, you want to fail forward, not continue to get stuck in that place, and do a lot of talks about having a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. And again, being a disruptor, we encourage and we embrace that growth mindset.
Awesome, man. Well, look, everyone, like, subscribe and share this video. Let's get the word out about Dewan Clayborn, the next generation of nonprofit leadership. It's not just about no profit. You can be a nonprofit for profit. Yes.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that, man. Follow him on his YouTube. And Dewan, I appreciate you, man. You have a great day.
I appreciate you, Tim. Hey, if you're thinking about writing a book or something, he is the guy. Give him a shout. I sign off on him. And thanks for everything, Tim. Looking forward to working with you in the future, my brother.